I would say too, man, prioritize what's important.
So how can I be something different? How can I assert my power and be more courageous and say, you know what? I'm not going to put on the headphones today. I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm just going to start a conversation with somebody. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Conscious Educators, the heart-centered classroom. I'm Rodney Salomon, and I'm here with my co-host, Mychal Mills. We are excited to explore another essential topic for educators and human beings everywhere, and that is stress management. It's something we all experience, and today we'll be diving into the practical tools and insights to navigate it with more ease and intention. Sounds fun, don't it, Brother Mike?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You're absolutely right, Rodney. And stress management is something we're all dealing with, especially around this time of the year and all times of the year, essentially. But it's something that affects us, on a physical, mental, and emotional level. But we have to create space for ourselves to thrive during this season. We have to create space for ourselves to be well, not just inside of work and inside the classroom, but outside of work and in the classroom as well. So whether you're a seasoned educator, been in the game for 20, 30, 40 years, or you're just new to the game, it's important that you actually learn these simple and practical tools to help you manage your stress during this time, because your stress is going to become the child stress, the student stress, and it's important that we're all managing, because co-regulation is very real, and we'll talk more about that during today's episodes. But we're going to review the science of stress, we're going to talk about its impact on our nervous system, and we're going to also introduce simple and practical tools to help us manage that stress in a beautiful way, using the power of gratitude, appreciation, and you really looking at ourselves as not just human doings, but human beings, and creating space to be. And I want to give you this quote from Anne Lamott, talks about stress, and it really lands for me, so hopefully it lands for you. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you.
I told my wife about the laptop. She had some challenges. I was like, you unplugging yet, baby? You like, not yet.
But just allow those words to sink in and just take some time to unplug. And we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Always reminds me of, like, we used to think stress was so bad, but it's actually something very beautiful, especially when you go into the gym or walking up them steps in Asbury Park High School. You get to the fourth floor. Well, that was our classroom. I remember every morning he'd give you a workout. But to begin, we're going to set the tone by expressing some gratitude to everyone taking the time listening. We heard from folks. It's not just educators. Folks are tapping in who are just in a holistic space, and we want to share these words not just for you to hear them with your ears, but for you to feel them with your heart.
We appreciate you all.
We care about you all, and we love you all.
And we truly mean that from our hearts to your hearts. And again, you probably hear this over and over again, but if this is your first time hearing those words today, this week, this month, this year, allow those words to be on repeat inside your mind, inside your heart, so we're overflowing with those words, especially around this time of the year. So we always like to begin with a little check-in, just to see where we are, and we invite you to do the same wherever you are. So Rodney, just to check in, what's your weather report today, and what's one thing you're grateful for?
Yeah, we kind of talking. We met before we got in here. I'm feeling like a little cloudy, like a beautiful summer day with that sun. You can feel the warmth, kind of like today. This is November 25th, and feeling that warmth, but the clouds there, like I'm not fully there. I feel like I'm chasing my day versus being ahead of my day. And I know that's okay. I didn't have to sit down and watch all that football and watch that Netflix show, but I had a grinded week the week before, doing a lot of service for the organization / consulting work. And I felt that dump off hit me in the weekend, but I feel the sun of appreciation, which goes to my gratitude. I'm grateful that I am blessed with the opportunities to be a bridge of harmony and support for various organizations and schools and youth. And I know in that service, I have to serve myself to fully recharge and show up. And I'm always reminded in moments like this where it's like, yeah, you gave a lot. What's a better way to recharge? So that's kind of like that cloudiness. So how about you, Brother Mike? What is your weather report, and what are you grateful for at this moment in time on your journey?
For me, my weather report is a little cloudy, and I think for me it's just the season is changing, and I'm feeling the heaviness of some personal things as well as the movement, less sun, and I'm trying to make sure I'm staying active, activating that inner fire by doing some working out and things of that sort, but just for making sure I am physically alive and well inside of my body. So I'm really just tending to my body. So a little cloudy, and I'm grateful for deep, intimate connection. I've had a lot of beautiful connections over the last week in the community, within work, KYDS, within my family, and it's really been nourishing for my heart. So deep, intimate connections is one thing I'm really grateful for. I love intimate connections, so that's something I'm grateful for, that I have that presence in my life.
Hey.
And as we continue to explore these topics and our intentions for why we're listening, we invite you, just as Rodney just did, active listening, right? Wherever you are, can I just listen and be more present, just 1% more? And just really making that a practice of just being present and being present with all that you're learning during this podcast, outside this podcast, and staying curious. Right? What is this teaching me? How is this landing for me? How is this feeling on a physical, mental, and emotional level? So just adding ourselves a little bit more, allowing ourselves to be a little bit more present during these times of presence.
Hey, yeah. So there's no one size fits all solution, right? If you, even like we mentioned our check-in, if we cloudy, that's okay. But can I show up in a way that I can receive something valuable and supportive to my journey as an educator, maybe a parent or a human being?
Yes.
We
are human, family.
We expanded the genre of our niche in real time.
So let's dive into the science of stress and why this is important for educators, even as community family members, just as human beings, why this topic is so important for us to understand. And we're going to talk a little bit about the science of stress, particularly for educators, but universally for everyone. So did you know that stress actually affects your memory, decision making, your emotional regulation, and just so many different functionalities of the body? When things are overstressed, they're not operating at their optimal level. And studies show through the American Psychology Association that educators report higher levels of stress than most professionals. Right? So out of all the professions throughout the world, educators report higher levels of stress. Now, as you hear that, Rob, what comes to mind for you?
I'm just like trying to figure out what are the other professions that is on that top 3 list, right? But it makes a lot of sense. We have the blessing and the burdens that we have to hold space for. Sometimes it could be 20 youth, could be 30 youth. Sometimes it's multiple blocks or pairs throughout the day, and we have to deal with our own personal baggage in our life. We're dealing with loss. We're dealing with emotional challenges and trauma that we have not healed, and we have to still show up each and every day and perform. This is a baseball season. This is 180 games, and you look at the MLB, how many players play actually all 180 games to their full potential. So stress is just as a natural byproduct, and we're not trying to shut that stress down, but it's also how we transform it. And I see we have this quote by Dr. Vivek Murthy, the U.S. Surgeon General of Health, and we met him at Selena Gomez's mental health gala, and it really just stood out to us when he started speaking about loneliness as an epidemic. And he highlighted that chronic loneliness is damaging our health just as much as smoking 15 cigarettes in a day, right? It's increased the risk of premature death by nearly 30%, and it can exacerbate stress, anxiety, and depression. And this is big, loneliness. Now, I know we all are working in a space that has 10, 15, 20, 30 people, but I've been in rooms before where I feel I'm surrounded by a lot of people. Right, even my college days, as I started waking up a little bit, I was like, "Oh, I'm still alone, though. Who can I connect to? Who can I share myself authentically?" And for educators who are pouring into others, the absence of a strong support network or loved ones during the holidays can feel especially heavy, right? Especially we're in that isolation. We're going home for 2 weeks. You might have a husband right next to you, but you are not really connected on that emotional level, which is what I find nurtures my soul. Like, I can be there for you physically, cook, clean for you, but it's what really takes that pressure off me when I can share my vulnerabilities. So combined with the pressures to meet the year-end goals and balance personal commitments and performance measures and manage all the highs and lows of the season, it is no wonder so many educators are feeling overwhelmed. And we always like to say this: it's okay if you're not okay. What was you about to say?
To not be okay.
Okay, yeah. I was like, it's close, it's close.
You know, and I think that's very important because you're highlighting connection. And it's just not connection. Like, we may be connected right now. We're in the same room,
Yeah.
right? But we're not connected on that deeper level, right? So can you talk a little bit more about that deeper connection, like going past the surface and going to the depths of who we are and connecting in that space?
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful question, and I really look at it from like the circles that I have, right? And I'm consciously aware enough to know that I share certain parts of me based upon our relationship. And as I started transforming myself and awakening to this version of who I am now, still awakening, I recognize that certain relationships, folks that I have called friends my whole 4 years of playing college football, folks that I grew up with in my childhood, still friends, still got love, but it didn't reach the nourishment of what my spirit needed. Like, I wasn't going through a lot, but like I didn't find value in just talking about sports all day. I didn't find value about speaking on fantasy football. Like, I wanted to speak on, like, what are you dealing with? How are you navigating this? Like, man, how are you dealing with the shadows that you've experienced and the triggers that happen in real time, and being able to have some soulful conversations. If you look at the picture of the iceberg, instead of just talking on the tip or the surface of the iceberg, I was looking to be nourished by individuals that were going below the iceberg. And that was something that my spirit was craving for, that really, although I might be in a bad space, it made me feel more alive. It made me feel more real, that there's something about this pain that I have to move through. And finding folks like yourself, finding folks like Miss Erica, going to trainings like the True North and taking my yoga certification, put me in containers where I can be in environments where individuals had those kind of conversations. So I'm curious, though, for you, Brother Mychal, right? And really going back to this concept of loneliness and this concept of isolation, what were some moments of your life that you might have felt that way, and what have supported you in climbing into a space where you've actually felt more connected?
Yeah, that's a great question because as you were talking, like this flash went to my mind of me when I was younger. I was lonely before I knew I was lonely, right? And I was just lonely because I was holding everything in. I wasn't talking about the things that needed to be talked about. And, instead, I love poetry, so I'm writing it in poetry, and I look back at my old journal of poetry now and to look at some of the titles of the poem. One is Men Get Depression, Lonely in My Own Thoughts. And it's like, wow, I'm like, I was lonely before I knew what loneliness was and the effects of loneliness. But my connection was poetry. But true connection started becoming more alive when I started having conversations around my poems, whether I wrote them or they're poems that are going to be written. I started having conversations about the things I was feeling on the inside, and that really helped me overcome a lot of isolation and loneliness. I used to put on, there's an Akon song called Lonely.
You're so lonely.
I'm Mr.
I have
Lonely.
nobody.
And it became something I wore. Right, so not only am I lonely, but I'm also isolating myself, making myself even more lonely.
Yeah.
I'm pushing people away. I'm putting a stiff arm up to people who actually want to connect, because I didn't trust that they'd be able to hold me.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't until finding, really trusted individuals I could really confide in and really talk about the things that I want to talk about that's happening inside of here, like you, like our staff, like family, like some friends, and really having those conversations that are really nourishing for my body, like really nourishing for my heart, and being able to release that and not holding in it. Right. So, the good thing about stress, as we talk about stress in this season, is that I don't have to hold it in. I could talk about it. And there's so much research that shows when I'm talking about it, I'm also releasing that energy that's holding me, right? It's trapped inside of me. And when I talk about it, it's not trapped anymore. I'm releasing it and I'm speaking on it.
And I think as we're having this conversation, it really speaks about, we're kind of speaking about a proactive way how to manage stress that arises in community or in authentic connections. And one thing I recognized was I had to be authentic within myself to find the spaces to hold those authentic conversations where folks would approach me and I would feel the realness, but I didn't have the courage to be real back, right? But even taking a few steps back, the containers, like, man, what are the triggers? This is a huge component of our embodiment is self-awareness. Everybody in education is speaking about social emotional learning, and instead of us seeing it from a curriculum and how I could teach this to the youth and knowing my values, my skills, I'm talking about at the very root of it, man, can I become more aware and sensitive to the things that trigger me in general, but more specifically around the holiday season, right? And how do they show up in my body? What do I feel that makes me aware that, oh yeah, I'm moving into stress? I may not be conscious of the thoughts, but do I feel my breath get heavier? Do I begin to clench up my fists, right? What are the thought patterns that come into my consciousness that I'm ruminating on that I may not even be aware of, that's just playing like a broken record that is creating this response in my physical body? What am I thinking about? Did I lose a loved one around this time? Did I go through a relationship break, a breakup? Did I have something take place that's a significant in my life in this time period, or whatever it may be? How do I have that correlation inside of me? And loneliness, isolation, stress are a part of that, but the small steps that we can take is taking moments to really pause and reconnect inward and making that check-in a daily, multiple times a day practice to help you understand. I'm not saying it's going to get rid of the stress I'm dealing with, but if I keep on this getting the cupcake or turning the TV on or doom scrolling through my phone, these stresses just get suppressed internally. And then it leads to me not showing up in the ability to support those in my container, students who are going through same issues. So really taking that step back. So what advice might you have for individuals to just become more aware of their own unique stress and how it shows up inside of them?
Yeah, one thing that I was just telling a 16-year-old last night, the 16-year-old was talking about how there's, going to school is very, very stressful. Like going into school, and there's a lot of anxiety in the body. And they painted a picture like walking into a cafeteria and all your peers are in there and you're walking in. So, just so you're not seen and heard, you put on headphones. You look like you're going on your phone, even though you're not swiping anything. You're just on your phone, just because you don't want to be seen. A lot of youth put on a hoodie too, and so a lot of those situations are very much alive in our bodies, and they're happening on a regular basis. So I told the young man, I was like, okay, would you be able to change the script of that experience, right? Where you walk in there, because you know that what you're feeling, probably half the room, if not all the room, are feeling the same way too, because everyone's hood is on. Everyone has headphones on. Everyone's on their phone, feeling the same thing, right? So how can I be something different? How can I assert my power and be more courageous and say, you know what? I'm not going to put on the headphones today. I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm just going to start a conversation with somebody. Yeah. Because I have friends in the room, right? So when I sit down, maybe just talk to your friends, right? Take a deep breath before you walk into the room. And that's one thing we talked about heavily, is taking that deep breath, because if you feel the nerves in your body, you feel the anxiety in your body, let's breathe into it. Yeah. All right? Let's breathe into it instead of giving into it. So take a deep breath in. Exhale out, walk through the room, keep your head up high. And it may feel uncomfortable at first, right? Because it's new. It's something different from what you used to do. So it's new, but now you have an opportunity to really begin to change your response to what's happening outside of you. Yeah. Right? And whatever's happening outside of you, now you're creating the response instead of reacting, right? Taking the outside in. You're bringing yourself to the outside. Yeah. So all that to say, the breath is a beautiful, beautiful tool that we can use to just move into that stress in a more easeful way. It doesn't negate the stress. It doesn't change the stress, but it changes how we react. to the stress and our relationship to that stress, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would say it probably will change the stress because your nervous system won't be in distress anymore.
Stress.
You know,
Growth
yeah. And it's really about, like, as you're talking, it's like, okay, how do we endure? Are we enduring the stress that life is giving us, or are we experiencing the stress that life is giving us? Because, you know, the pain is the pathway to the transformation. The discomfort is like, I always say this out loud. Life is either you're going to choose your suffering, or life is going to make your suffering. And I find some great value in stress because it's life trying to show you something needs to change. You can no longer commit to the way that you are functioning and moving in the same habitual way if you are going to fulfill the purpose that life has sent out here for you. And that's not just as an educator, that's you as a human being. And those stressors are to remind you to, at least from my perspective, help me course correct into a direction that's more in alignment with the harmony that I know can exist inside of me. And it's just these little things. Or I need to heal from that. I remember working with youth, and they would share stories about their issues with their parents or loved ones, or with their siblings, or with loss. And I'd be like, ooh, that, I felt that. I'm like, man. And I was like, why is that so hard for me to sit with? I'm like, oh, I haven't fully processed my parent wounds. You know, I haven't fully processed thinking about my brothers in this way. Like, they lost their brother. I still got my brothers. I'm just like, why is that bothering me? Oh, because maybe there's some things about our relationship that I want to strengthen or improve upon, that it's bringing up something, it's churning something inside of me that I don't have to push it away. And that's where self-awareness took me. It gave me the ability to sit with. And I guess it's a great first step, is finding space where we can sit with this stress, to listen to how it could best shape and form us on our journey. That makes sense?
That makes perfect sense. And one thing that comes to mind as you're speaking is you're aware of your stress. Whereas a lot of folks, a lot of educators who are just going about the day and they're not aware of anything. They're not aware of the stress. They're not aware of what they're holding inside their body. So let me ask you, what's the blueprint to first become aware of your stress? And what do you do to help balance that stress as it's arising?
Yeah, I think it usually gets to a point where it's like just overflowing. You know what I'm saying? I do think when we get into grooves where we might be going to the gym for 3 weeks, and we might be eating healthy for a good 3 weeks, and we doing all the right thing. Yeah. And then you start to taper off. But the blessing is you realize, oh, there's a carryover, right? I may not be working out the next week or 2 weeks, but some of that energy I've cultivated still carries with me. But as I begin to lose some of those effects of my consistency, I begin to notice that, oh, wow, like I'm not as sharp, or I'm a little bit more reactive to my son. That's probably the biggest cue for me, is like I'm more reactive to my children, because that always pauses. I always ask myself, is there a better way? Or being quick and witty with my wife, or not wanting to answer emails and not wanting to check my to-do list. Like, those are little signs where, like, okay, yeah, I could say that I'm just being lazy, but no, Rodney, this is how stress shows up for me. So I'm looking at and then I start to assess, what is my diet looking like? What is my physical activity looking like? What is my mental nourishment looking like? What is my spiritual nourishment? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not working out maybe once or twice a week. Oh, okay, yeah, I had some sweets 4 out of the 7 days after lunch. Oh, okay, I'm watching more TV than I typically do when I'm in that high vibration. And no, I'm not meditating 30 minutes an hour each day. So that shows me that I'm having a depletion in the nourishment that I know creates the best version of me. So I'm asking for you to see, like, in that spiral of choices that you do when you're at your best self, right? What is that formula, right? What am I doing physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually at my best? And what is the gap that I'm having right now? And 9 times out of 9, it's like, yeah, Rodney, okay, let's readjust our sleep schedule, right? Let's make sure we get minimum 30, 45 minutes on the mat, in the breath work. Let's make sure that I'm starting to eat those foods that allow my body to feel empowered. And let me make sure I'm reading things that really challenge my thought to be at a higher degree, whether it be your spiritual world, whether it be a beautiful book, poetry, whatever things that nurture the mind And then it's really beginning to surround myself with like just more gratitude and appreciation. Like it's like the stock market. I know I'm going up. Hopefully I don't go down lower than the foundation. Yeah. Check your portfolio. You know what I'm saying? It might be a good time. And I think that really allows, like I'm always assessing. And even though I'm assessing, I may not do none of the things that are going to be the solution, but that awareness makes me know that, I have control of this. I know that this is in my power to shift. And it might mean going to a sound bath that is being led by Brother Mychal. It might mean me going up to Ohana Yoga Studio and taking a class and being led by somebody else. It might me saying, you know what, we're shutting the computer down today and we're just going to walk out in nature, or I know for now, like I'm in that between space. So I know like, we're doing a 7-day juice fast and we're doing a social media fast and we're good because that big extreme approach helps me get that reset to help me get back onto the avenue of what I got to do. And that's a whole nother conversation of things that could support and assist.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm reflecting on even my times of stress. It's like one thing I strive to do is give myself grace. Because I remember in my younger years, I'd get stressed over the stress, right? The stress is creating more stress.
Compound interest.
Yeah. I'm like, wait. How can we reset? And in that reset, I'm more present because I'm no longer lingering in the past, but I'm in the present moment where I'm able to say, okay, who do I want to be right now? Yeah. Who do I want to be moving forward? And then that's when it's like, okay, go to the gym. Right, or sit, meditate, pray, or journal, reflect. But in that present moment, I'm able to create the direction where I go next. And I think that's one of my most powerful tools when I do get stressed and overwhelmed is taking that pause, that time out, that time in, and looking at myself.
Journey in.
Journey in.
Shameless plug. That ain't the brand, brother. That ain't the brand.
But it's just taking those moments, really just taking those moments. And I think the gift of both of us is we've been able to cultivate tools over time that we've been able to bring into the organization of KYDS, Conscious Youth Development and Service, and now for this podcast for all of you. So I think it's a great time to talk about some tools we have access to.
Yeah. And I it's just like a strange paradox because we're talking about a lot of things that are not actually in the school. We're talking about the things that are in our personal lives, but every teacher that we've met that's been stressed out, some of those personal ones that might seem very scary and mean on the outside, we have come to determine at the bottom of that iceberg, it is because things that they're dealing with in their personal life spill out into school. And we hear it all the time. I'm from the old school. When I show up to work, I turn all that off and I get to work. And I'm like, your nervous system says differently. You know what I'm saying? The way your brain works, you can compartmentalize, but that's still affecting the way that you navigate all situations. So I don't see a separation between home and school. We can mask it. We can try to hide it. But the pain from outside of school is going to show up in how you teach inside of school. But just for those folks who are listening, what are some tips that you can have to managing stress in real time in the classroom, right? In terms of navigating this holiday season, winter break's coming up, Thanksgiving break just passed. You probably listen to this after Thanksgiving break, and we in that home stretch. You might see some other kids getting turned up because they don't want to go to winter break as well. What are something simple that an educator, and you mentioned the pause, the journey in, but anything that can be simple and practically integrated into an educator's life in real time in the classroom before we go into the holiday season of stress?
Well, you just mentioned our nervous system doesn't just change when we walk through the door or when we walk into the classroom. So I think that's important to acknowledge because, my first step is to take a moment, whether it's a breath, whether it's a body shake, before you walk into the classroom. Because anything after that is reactive. Right? So anything after that, I'm just reacting to the environment around me. So being proactive and noticing who you need to be when you walk through that door, how can I be that person now? Right. So what are the steps? Make it practical, make it small, consistent, right? Make it practical, make a ritual out of it. But what can I do before I walk through the door? Right. And maybe it's a moment where you're just taking some stillness and quietness in the morning. right? And maybe you're just taking some time to walk in the morning, or just
Yeah.
really be super mindful, be super present with yourself. And you'll find that the more present you are with yourself and nourishing yourself, asking yourself what I need in this moment, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and really catering and listening to what you need, you're able to do that for others.
Mm,
So
mm.
imagine you started off with presence before you walked into the classroom, and then you walk into the classroom, and then you're offering presence,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what you filled yourself up with. But I say make it small, make it consistent, but, we don't want to create mountains because that can create more stress. But start off small, start off with breaths, start off with sound, start off with your body in some type of intentional way as you begin the day and maybe during the day and at the end of the day, but you're just making it a point to cater for yourself, right? Got anything else, Brother Ron?
Yeah, I love what you were just sharing too. And Atomic Habits, forgot the author's name of it though, but like be very specific. Like Mike's talking about, we talking about. I'm gonna integrate this body shake. I'm gonna integrate this breathing. I'm gonna integrate this movement practice. What time, right? What location, right? How long? Be so specific in that intention so that it actually lands. And I would say too, man, prioritize what's important, like making sure that you say yes to those things that are truly resonant within your heart, and being okay and not feeling that shame or guilt by saying no to those things that are not in alignment with what your needs. Like my wife made a appointment to connect with one of her friends just the other day, and I'm looking at my wife, I'm like, baby, you damn near 8 months pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Like you were on, we did some sound here. We do like a little thing called Soul Sunday with my wife and kids, and then she's on the ground, I'm doing the sound bowl. I'm like, oh, you about to take it down and you trying to go out here and leave. I'm like, baby, you got to say yes to you first. And she loves her friend, so she want her friend to take it personal and like at the last second. But I'm like, I get that, but it's like, man, the biggest value is you, and like what can you give to your friend from
Biggest
you in this
value
day?
is you.
Yeah, so I think just prioritizing in the holiday season, really understanding like if I'm not prioritizing my well-being as number one and I'm feeding life into everything else, what am I even giving in these spaces? And I'm a hermit, you know what I mean? I don't say yes to a lot of things. So but it's something that I learned years ago was like doing what's best to me. So when you do see me show up in the environment, you're gonna get a higher spectrum or a higher vibration of me where I just be in spaces. She was my girlfriend then, but like I don't even want to converse. I'm not trying to talk to nobody. My words are short because I'm not charged up. I'm not doing what I need to do to be of value into the rooms that I'm coming into. So really taking a moment to feed and nourish your soul. And it's okay to say no. Say it with love. If the person really rocks with you, if they truly love you, they won't take it so personal. They'll have understanding. And if you got friends like that, you might want to reevaluate, man, are they adding life or toxicity to you as an individual? So
That's perfect, Rob. And one thing I'll lift up too. I'm a sound healer. I work with sound.
I was like,
In
what you
Atlanta.
pulling out over there? I'm like,
I have to bring this out because I told myself I'm gonna start to bring out my tools so I could use them in real time. Because I notice even in the transition of driving, I try to make that more nourishing. So, we both been in the car together, so you'll hear us breathing deeply in the car, or listening to relaxing music or humming. The humming breath is very powerful, but I told myself I'm going to bring these out today,
what are those things?
These are tuning forks, weighted tuning forks. So what they do is you tap it on your knee or your elbow, whatever you need to, and the tuning forks helps tune your nervous system. It
Yep.
helps relax your nervous system, and each tuning fork has a different frequency that it's attuned to. But these are weighted tuning forks, so you can also place them on the body, and you can feel the vibration.
We're gonna need
resonate
a
around
whole sound episode
the body.
and bring it all out.
I think it's important that we talk about all the tools we have access to, right? Because a lot of folks, they're probably, as you go into breathing, you need to learn how to breathe properly.
Yes,
So
you do.
if I start breathing without breathing properly, I can create more stress in my body, right? If I'm breathing and from the top of my chest and I'm not breathing properly down, bringing the breath down to the bottom of my lungs, diaphragmic breathing, I'm gonna cause more stress in my body. So really dive into the tools you have access to, right? That to be true as far as your own well-being, to bring yourself into a calm state, and utilize those tools.
Yeah, I'm taking your line, but if you don't have tools like Mike is mentioning or the expertise to tap into using them, I was gonna start going into our technology, like that's a whole other episode all in itself. Find community, right?
Yeah.
Go on your Eventbrite, go on your Facebook page, find your local wellness practitioners, be in community, right? Come join us if you're in the Monmouth County, Jersey area. Come to our wellness events where you can be around people that make you feel safe and trusted enough to be in that vulnerable position to dive into yourself. And there are a lot of great teachers, maybe not academic, but on the soul level, that can nourish you in a way that allows for you to show up in the academic settings and really being in community where you can unify yourself and connect with those around us. And KYDS, check out our monthly calendar if you are in the area to experience some of that medicine. So I know we could keep going on, and I want to keep this prolonged, but we know the stress is real, and we want to take a mindful moment together to really bring this to life. And we talk about different exercises and tools, and we want to provide a little Sam's Club sample that you can taste, that you can carry with you to hopefully inspire you. And the technique is a stress relief for breathing exercise, right? We're going to inhale in through our nose for a count of 4, holding for 4, and we're going to exhale out for 6. And we're going to do this 3 times together, right? And this is Andrew Wells' technique. I think it's inhaling in for 4, holding for 7, breathing out for 8 is Andrew Wells. This is very similar. You can measure and test all these different rhythms. You will find something that is transforming. But essentially, when you control that exhale and elongate it, it is triggering your parasympathetic response. It is sending a signal to your body to slow down. And in regards to that, now the body slows down. I have more awareness of the body. The mind slows down. I have more awareness of the thoughts. And the heart begins to soften. I have space to feel. And it gives you a clarity on, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I need to do. And this is just a way to help you navigate the holiday shopping, the holiday teaching. So take a moment just to sit up nice and tall. If you're driving, eyes closed, you can still do the same. Or if you're in the kitchen washing the dishes, you can still do the same. It could be great practice. Step 1, notice the sensations and the vitality in your physical body. Step 2, just take a moment to observe and watch your mind. And step 3, begin to shift your awareness to the natural rhythm of your breath. Notice the quality. Notice the energy. And from here, we're going to begin to inhale in through our nose for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, as deep as into the belly. Hold here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling belly, ribs, chest. 3, 4. Holding here. Draw the mind inward for 3, 2, 1. Controlling the breath as you exhale out the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. One last round as deep and full as you can. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold here. Draw the mind inward. 3, 2, 1. Exhale as controlled as you can. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold that breath at the bottom. The second you get that hunger to breathe, hold on for 1 more second. Take a nice big breath in. Big sigh out. And allow the breath to be natural. Allow the body to soften and relax. And immediately draw your awareness inward. Notice how that made you feel. Notice the mental, emotional, and physical effects of the practice. And really asking yourself, could a practice like this, could a breathing rhythm like this be beneficial as I navigate this holiday stress and the challenges? What do you think, Brother Mike? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I feel like I'm ready for the stress that's coming around the corner.
Bring it on. Bring it
on. But it's also a reminder of the capacity that's already inside of me.
Yeah.
And how I can just use the breath in real time. It's always with me at all times. So,
Yeah.
I just want to, thank you for that practice, Brother Ra. And, I want to thank you all for tuning in and sharing your thoughts, supporting the podcast. And your feedback and your presence mean the world to us. And remember, if loneliness is a part of your journey, your stress right now, reach out to community. Like Ross said earlier, come out to the community center. We have a lot of great events coming soon.
Yeah.
We have a 10-year anniversary event on December 21st.
Yeah.
And, if you're listening to this after December, you'll get the next December anniversary, but just reach out to community. Lean into mindfulness, the power of the breath, and yeah, thank you all for being here.
Yeah, and thank you all for being part of the Golem community. I mean, big shout out to Kim Brado, Rodney, Rodney Corsi. Feels weird saying Rodney, but we just got done doing the Healing with Harmony event and getting walked up to so many folks like, yeah, I'm not an educator, but I'm still playing it because I see the value and what it brings to my journey. So big shout out to you. Thank you for those listening and giving us that feedback. Share it with a friend. Share it with someone that could benefit from this information. And more importantly, man, take care of yourself, right? So as we wrap things up, no bow tie, just the love from our heart. We want you to remember that stress is a natural part of a human being. I woke up the steps, my body's going through stress, but that stress is designed to stretch me out to make me even stronger if I'm able to experience it fully. So it doesn't have to be something that controls us, right? With small intentional practices, learning how to experience it, not just endure it, learning how to use our breath, learning how to use community, you can show up for yourself and others in ways that feel aligned, sustainable, but becomes an embodiment that inspires others to do the same.
And, as we move through this holiday season and all the seasons on the earth, I invite you to really give yourself the gift of grace. Give yourself the gift of presence and just take some moments to take care of yourself. Be selfish so you can be selfless. And it's okay not to be okay, but lean into community and just know that you're not alone. And, stay rooted, stay mindful, stay heart-centered, and stay being you.
Yeah.
So, Rodney, what's one takeaway you want listeners to receive from today's episode?
Oh, man, take care of you. Put your oxygen mask on before you put on somebody else's. Prioritize yourself. Be selfish so that you can be selfless, so that you can really show up and support your students, your colleagues who you're interacting with, and really being intentional about making a self-care action plan, even if you're just doing it for this holiday season. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, gift of grace, breathe, take care of yourself. You are enough. Affirm that you are enough. Think positive thoughts, right? And just really remain true to who you are and be yourself at all times. That I know that's said often in today's society, but truly be you by listening to you, by speaking greatness into you, by breathing life into you, and just loving on you in all ways possible.
You say that shirt, be beautiful. But even for yourself, family, what's one small step you can take the moment you finish this podcast to integrate or to elevate your current practices, right? So thank you for joining us. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe, rate, leave a review. Your feedback helps us reach out to more educators looking for ways to thrive and create impact.
And be sure to tune in next time where we'll have another transformative conversation and episode centered around your essential well-being to support you in creating a heart-centered classroom and any classroom everywhere you go, whether it's in your dining room at home or whether it's in your classroom in the school, but remain heart-centered everywhere you go. But until then, take care of yourself, stay grounded, and remember, your well-being is a superpower.
We appreciate you all.
We care about you all.
And we love you. Beautiful day, family.